Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that would be interesting to see. I would happily be like, all right, guys, what a great holiday. Like we're just gonna
Like an
do.
actual Earth Day. Just sit at home, run your appliances low, don't drive. Like, we're not manufacturing today because it's not even us. It's the manufacturing, it's the shipping across oceans, it's these mega vessels burning thousands of gallons of fuel
You
in
want to get
five,
your
6 hours.
you want to get your blood boiling though?
Oh, don't.
It's the
Do I need this on a Tuesday,
You need
Brian?
it. We're gonna fix the world on this like very, very small comedy podcast.
Right.
It's you remember the advertising that they did with the Indian like back in the 70s talking about recycling? Like it has him with the
No, I was a
tear. It's like,
Captain Planet
oh,
generation.
dude, Captain Planet. Okay, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's been since memed on. But there was this time where they put out this whole series of ads, and it's a Native American who apparently wasn't a Native American. Which
Yeah,
is
it's just some like Mexican guy.
Or I think he maybe might have been Italian. But
Whoa, hey, that wasn't my people.
hey.
It probably was.
Probably was. Yeah. It's like, oh, you got a gig?
Yeah.
How was it pay? How? I'll be Indian for a day. What we've seen with it is that so they put out this series of ads. It shows all this garbage, people littering, and it has them having a tear down his eye. Well, who's that for? Well, it turns out it was to motivate us to think that we're responsible for all of it, and it is the corporation. So it was a corporate funded thing, so that people would be like, oh, instead of saying, hey, how about you clean up your stuff, I'm gonna recycle. And then you're like, oh, so it was a whole misdirection campaign that has since succeeded.
What's cheaper, gaslighting a populace or actually manufacturing things properly and safely?
Gaslighting, baby, every time.
Reason. Like, it's great. It's the same thing with cigarettes, same thing with recycling. Like, a lot of these industries are very it's cheaper to spend money on advertising to tell you we're actually the good guys than it is to fix the problem. Or to just pay a fine from whatever agency.
It's a perfect segue to talk about this podcast sponsor, Pfizer.
Pfizer, brought to you by
Pfizer, get your 17th booster shot for $17.99.
This one's made with compound V. It will give you
hell yeah, dude.
Laser eye powers. Yeah.
Some of you will become invincible. Every one of you will become insane.
Every single
one of you. Ultimately, power corrupts.
Did you finish up this new season?
No, I have yet to start. Has it wrapped up? It's official? Yep. Okay, cool. Then I'll get started on it. That's where
crazy.
I'm excited.
Crazy.
I've enjoyed the past seasons. I just I like what I like to do when I consume content is I like to have it all done. I go and watch it, and then I go out to the YouTube side, and then I watch the commentaries. People kind of breaking it down and whatnot. Which is I don't know, it's just extra entertainment at the end of the day. I get into that, especially with the Marvel stuff too.
I'm a sucker for the special effects breakdowns and like all the bloopers, like the outtakes. Like I'll watch all those videos for sure.
I remember growing up, like when the DVDs started coming out, and you could get the
menu options, the menu,
but then you could like, hey, I'm gonna listen to the like the commentary,
director's commentary, yeah,
as the movie plays. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd watch the movie, then I'd listen to the director's commentary. It's always interesting because sometimes some of the commentaries were really good because they would bring in some of the actors, and if the actors were generally comedic, like you'd get some really interesting and funny stories that most likely the greater majority of people have never heard of. And what we've seen take that place though is podcasting. We've seen
podcasting and YouTube, really.
Yeah, that has really kind of taken that, and so I couldn't tell you if that still even happens on DVDs today.
So I'm not sure that happens too much, and it's weird because I remember like all the Alien movies, the director's commentary was awesome with Anderson. And now these days, like you said, YouTube podcasting kind of replaced that, but it's more like the fandoms or like the guys that just do that professionally, is like Red Letter Media is one that comes to mind. So it's kind of odd that it's not like the directors or the people that actually worked on the film doing the commentary as much. It is much more the fans of the film. Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to see, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me try to think, because it's like we talked about Biden Watch. I wanted to talk to you about that as well. We talked about saving the world, and the world is overheating.
We didn't talk about Sly Cooper, but
we haven't talked about Sly Cooper. You want to talk about Sly Cooper?
You've never played Sly Cooper?
I have not.
Yeah, we'll get to it when you play it. That's just like it feels really good across the board, and I think that was just like one of the better PS2 titles to do that.
Why
like,
haven't they made another one?
I think they made 4 of them.
Well, meaning like here we are. Did it ever make its way to the PS4? Did it ever make its way to the PS5?
PS4, it had a title debut. PS5, no. And I think that's just kind of something with like the PlayStation brands, like Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Psychonauts, God of War. Like they've kind of just been particular with the ones they brought onto the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that is a kind of a concerning sign that some of these, like we've seen, I think less and less innovation within these kind of games? Like,
no. Because the guys that did Sly Cooper were Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
So they've only been putting out great games. Yeah, I'm not super mad that they haven't put out a new Sly Cooper game, because we got Infamous, we got Ghost of Tsushima.
Infamous and Ghosts is such fun.
Which are
games.
2 very wide apart games. Well, they had more titles in between. I'm just those are 2 that stick out.
Are they the team that also does the Spider-Man games?
Or is that Insomniac? I think that's Insomniac.
Okay. Well, because I was wondering, I was like, I didn't know if it was like obviously Infamous that led to more Spider-Man, because there's a lot of obviously different set of powers, but you have that open world, kind of.
Oh, the traversal for sure.
Yeah, traversal, movement, getting around.
So speaking of commentaries, there's a really fun developers commentary on the Spider-Man PS4 version where they sit down and they're like, we really wanted to just make Spider-Man 2 for the PS2 in a modern era. Like the web slinging and movement traversal from that game was actually really good for the time.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of limitations like lighting, rendering, the view distance kind of.
Spider-Man 2 and the movie Spider-Man 2, top tier.
Oh, absolutely. From back in the day.
Have you watched the Spider-Man 2 movie in a while?
The Sam Raimi one?
Yeah.
Not in a while, but that's Doc Ock, right?
Yeah, that's Doc Ock. I wonder because, like, I was thinking about that because I remember Blade, if you remember that movie when it came out.
Oh, I love Blade.
Oh, dude, when it came out, I was like, this is great. I recently watched Blade within like the last year, and I was like,
still great. Stop it. Don't.
Visually,
Stop
like,
it.
No, like.
Oh, visually, yeah.
At
Blade
the end.
1,
and it's
especially.
just at the end. It's the special effect at the everything up to when they
blood
used
thing.
blood thing.
Yeah.
Was like, all right. At the time, I was like, this is crazy. Now I'm like, whoa. And that's where I was like, man, I wonder if I'd have that same kind of vibe with Spider-Man 2, because one of the things I've been doing is kind of replaying some of the old classics. So I picked up the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters and,
nice.
Played through the first one with the kids. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to jump into 4, because I remember 4 was how I fell in love with the series when I was a kid. I was like, wow, which was called 2 in the West. But I was like, yeah, this game's, so great. But then again, I was like, oh man, it's been 30 years since I played that. Like a lot has happened to me. What do I really remember about that game? What do I really remember about the characters in the story? Because I have feelings and fondness and positive memories of those. But like, how I perceive it differently now as a father, as, an older man. It's like, all right. So that's kind of on, that's something from a gaming perspective that I want to see brought through is digital preservation.